Anyway, so I went and moved some stuff. Kept tripping over this light, so I moved the computer that was here and put this light up here. And in the process, I moved some of the things that were left over here from the past couple of projects that I've done. Had a bunch of stuff left over from when I was working on the Plex server and other things, which I actually did not record, so I'll be waiting around for that video. It's not coming. But now I've recovered some space here. Got myself a little bit more room to work around. And made sure that I could find monitor cables whenever it becomes important again in a minute. So we'll open this one up. Ryzen shield instructions. Got 2 drives. Book that nobody's ever going to read. And save cables, I'll need one of those. I'll need that one. Have the trash there. Board out. All the extra junk that I need right now. This time we're working with the ASRock B450M Pro. This board I've used before. I really like this one. This one gives me 2 full-size PCI slots here. PCI Express, all that stuff. Yeah, this one's really cool. So we're going to go ahead and get started putting this together the same way as before. We will drop in 3200G, drop in our RAM, we'll get the post, right posts, we'll turn it back off, and we will move on to sticking this all into the case that we got for it. Which I did not actually get the case out and bring it over, so that'll be it. So, same cooler, same processor, same everything else. Go straight into here. Won't spend a whole lot of time on this. We already know about the gold triangle and the not so gold triangle. The retention arm, dropping it into place, putting it down, good to go. We already know these have already pre-applied thermal paste on the bottom of them. It's not something that we have to worry about dealing with for ourselves. Take these off. Drop them back in the box here. That's not what they implied that hole for, but that's what I'm using it for. Here. This one all the same way as we did the other one. Make sure it's lined up good. And apply crisscross method of tightening the screws. That. This one, I go all the way down with it. So I'll just go in reverse and finish what I started. All 4 of those. Okay. Now this board. And look at here. You'll see right up there underneath all that The actual wording for this is underneath this heatsink here. But the CCPU fan, and then this one, can't see exactly what it says, but I can tell that it ends with a P, so I'm assuming this is CPU fan, and then water pump if you have water cooling installed. So we're just going to go ahead and put this into CPU fan 1. And we'll do the same thing with this one as we did with the other one. We'll pull the wire around, try to tuck it into the gap that they provided us here, which again was not why that gap was provided, but that is what we are going to use it for. So I just like to have this cable out of the way where I can't see it. Okay. I have the same RAM for this build as we did for the last build. If you not see that one for this one, that is DDR4 3200 from G-Skills, the Rip Jaws set. And they did not limit us on how many of these we could order at one time, like they did on the board and several of the other things, so we got as many as we needed. Where's the words at here? Oh, here they are. So this one is lined up like the other one, A1, A2, B1, B2. So go in like so. Put them into place. Make sure that we line these things up correctly, because if they're not lined up correctly and you try to shove them into place, you will not be happy. We're having to one of those. Moving some of this stuff out of the way now. Throwing it into the trash box here. A couple of times. Since this is the last of the 2Ds, this power supply will actually be the one that goes into the case for this one. Not only are we testing this thing out as it is, we're also testing it out as it will be. So whenever I rearranged all of this, I plugged the mouse and keyboard into the back of the monitor. I only have one port to deal with for that. You may ask why I did not do that to start with. And that I would say because I was having issues with that previously, a different build that I was working on, and so I never got around to putting them back as they were. Touch these two here. That should come up. Let's see if we're getting anything on the screen here. BIOS. Nice. Can recognize all of that. Of course, the DDR4 is in a 2133. This one here. RAM setting. Now they actually say load XMP setting, but it's actually the OCP because we're only AMD, but still. Anyways, we're going to say yes, and then we're going to exit, save changes and exit. Yes. Hopefully this one actually goes and lets us do this and we don't end up having to troubleshoot this one. But let's see how far we get. There's the power off. There's the power back on. In a minute and see if we get into the system here. Or if it cycles again. Fan stopped. So it looks like this one is failing also. Yep. Failure over there again. Looks like we're going to have to turn that back off on this one as well and try to tweak that later. Again, that's going to take longer than what I want to do in this video, so I'm just going to turn it back off. We'll put all this into the case and we'll call it a day. Oh well. This comes back up, I'll turn all that off. Now I've been ready to put it in the case. Meanwhile, I'm going to go get the case out. I'm actually going to take a bit of a break, go get some supper, so I'll get back with you guys after all of that is over with. Alright, I'm back over here again. I went ahead and dug out the case that I was going to use. I went ahead and got my flash drive that I can install Windows on these computers when I'm done with them. So all of that should be good to go now. This case, a different case. I have not actually built anything in this one yet, so we'll see what goes on here. We weren't able to order two of the same cases because of limitations on quantities that I could buy things in. And so, again, this it's not going to look like the other one, but we'll have the same functionality as the previous one, just in a different case. So, start popping these sides up. Screws over here, so that way I end up losing those. I'll come back to those in a minute. Oh, a little tight. I recommend putting these ones in over finger tight, because in this case, this acrylic side panel, that's all the way around, and the back part is actually acrylic as well, which is, I suppose that's kind of cool. They made the whole side out of acrylic with all the things. That does mean that you have to be a little bit more careful with this side than you would with a different one, but that's still kind of neat they did that. Alright. This part here. They've got all kinds of stuff in here. Cool deal. Not that the vast majority of that is going to be used anyways, because but there. But you do not have to like it. Really looks like it's like barely in there, but it is in there. This is something that I absolutely hate. I suppose I could see why they did it, but absolutely hate that they put this Molex connector on here. This is just a standard 3-pin fan connector, and I'm going to rip that off because nobody wants to use that. I hate that they even included that, but I suppose I can see why they did. Now, on this side, there's some Velcro in here for cable management, so that's cool that they've included that. I always like these little trays that they give you for hard drives to go into. That's actually pretty cool. Alright. This is similar to the last case where you can put your SSDs here. What? Go through to the other side to get them. Or you can go the other way with them. If you wanted to. You could always just mount them into here if you wanted to. Part is left up to you, but I think in this case we're going to mount them in here. So of course this one would not be black like the other one. Alright, but anyway, they'll go in here like this, and I may just swap this out with the other one so that this one in here, since it's going to be on this side, can be black and match everything else in here. Although it will match the stupid cables off the power supply, because, you know, cheap power supplies got all these ketchup and mustard cables on them. Alright, that being said, let's go ahead and put in our motherboard. So we've already got the I/O shield installed. Just set here. Oh, look at one thing real quick before I get too far into this. And yeah, that is right. In there. As it just so happens, have 2 extras of these anyways, even though they didn't include them, so I will just put them in here. that I'm gonna need. I've got those in there. That's kind of not good. So the fact that they did not have those other two in there, nor in the bag for me to add to there, disappointing, but not a deal breaker, because it did have some to use. Just had to go get them. Actually so much better whenever I have the magnet on it. I do miss the flashlight that was on my other. There. Really wanted, I could just take this, add it into this, that up there, and I could have the best of both worlds. Those. fan. Let's see. That one. This one. And the right one to this. Here. Theoretically, since this is an SSD, it really has no moving parts, there won't be any type of vibration or anything like that for it to combat. So technically, you don't actually need all 4 of these screws, but I'm going to put them in anyways. This is not going to be a system that I take down anytime soon, so it's not like saving a few seconds here is going to save me a few seconds later, because this is not going to be torn back down anytime soon at all to be made into anything else or done anything else to. Because I know exactly where this is going, and I know that the place that it's going, it will not be taken down and reworked anytime soon at all. So it's not something that I need to worry with at all on that. Let's see here. We should have. I'll move this hard drive straight out of the way. And now it's going to be in the way. Here, what we just did for those. Once that's through there, I'm going to put that back in because the rest of this goes to a different hole. This one is USB. We'll put that through this one. And then the last one here should be the HD audio one. And then we will run that here. Where's my 3.0? 3.0 is up there. So I'm just going to push it through right here where the SSD plugins could be going through. Plug it in this section instead. Should be all of those things. Let's spin this thing around. Get in here. has something to just prop it up against. Like that. A little more certain. Alright, let's see.
USB plug into USB here. I brought the HD audio by GameMax, but plug it in back to here. That in the 1.2. Pull it together. Because stuff is here. My fingers are too fat for this. So let's go back to there. There we are. Set those together. I'll pull it back up. Pull these back through. So, this side of the thing again. There's that. Alright. Now we move on to putting the power supply in here. I could have done this earlier. Wanted to. Didn't, so I didn't. If I remove this disc, I'd probably find enough screws back underneath there to be able to build a whole other computer with. But luckily, they always include plenty of them to go around. Alright, so plug in say power say data port. And let's sort this out. What we actually need here. We need these two top. And twist this over and plug it into that. Shabby, our business. Usually I pull this way because this cutout's closer this direction, but this time, I don't know, we'll see how we end up with that after a few minutes. For now, let's take a break because it's starting to rain outside and stuff. I'm gonna make sure all the children went back in. So give me a minute and I'll get back to this as it is. Alright, I'm back. That was great. They all went in without even being built. So, back to where we were at here. With this machine, trying to manage these cables. So, looking at this, these cutouts right here would have been great, but the board is a little longer than what it needs to be in order for those to work. So, I'm going to have to push this out the same hole that I would push out the connectors for that SSD and just work with what I've got. And it should also be fine. Pull this. And yeah, we can pull all that fine. Okay. In this system, we're given less room back here to work with than we had in the other one, but in front of the power supply and behind this hard drive cage is a bit of room here. I think we can manage to stuff these cables that we did not use into there, save ourselves a bit of headache dealing with those a bit. I'll do that now. As for the cables that we did use, let's see here. Do that there. I'm going to do this Velcro real quick. Like so. This comes along there as well. Yeah, it looks on the other side once I snap that together. This around my other cables. Yeah. That is not the finest bunch of cables that are ever managed, but I believe that will work. This does cover up these hard drive bays, but again, like I said before, knowing exactly where this is going, I know those are never going to be used anyways, so it's not a huge loss there. In fact, if I really wanted to, which I don't, because I don't want to deal with all these screws here. If I really wanted to, I could just remove that cage altogether since it's never going to be used, but it's not that big. Believe it. Alright. So on this side, again, not much we can do about the color of the cables, but they are at least pulled through so that they are not all up in your face when you look at it from this side. So that's neat. Let's put the back end back on this thing. This is going to be the one where we have to work it the most because this is not the best. But it's gonna work. So over there, slide that back into place. Get back all of it. Not bad. There's no bulge in the case or anything, so I'll accept it. Back around this side. Again, no cables or anything away. And peel this stuff out here. Ooh. In there. Both sides. Ooh. Now I've got to make sure that I don't touch it anywhere and put fingerprints on it. There we go. I do like that that wraps around. That's pretty neat. Alright. Cool deal. Alright, spin it around here. Let's get it plugged in. See how this thing operates. Now that everything is plugged in as it should be. So, let us get the power. How about that? Like I said, I had not turned this on previously, so I was not aware that that fan back there actually was blue. That's cool. Fan going up. We're booting. Fan is going off there. Well, the fan is actually going, but the light on the fan is going off. This thing did not come with a remote or anything like that to turn that fan on and off. Light on it. Okay. Another issue that I'll have to work through after I do everything else. So we're into this. Looking good. Again, it did not work with the thing enabled, so we're not even going to bother with that. We'll send it to here. Go ahead and
ready to load into Windows and get that installed. So, let's talk about installing Windows. It's a pretty easy and straightforward thing to do. This is all a 64-bit system, so we're going to go with the 64-bit version. Push on all of that is fine. Install is fine. Alright. We do not currently have a key for this, but we will get one eventually. Not today. So we're going to click I don't have a product key. We're going to go ahead and click Windows 10 Pro because we know the key that we will get will be a Pro key. Now we'll be getting that from SCD key. Alright, so camera was overheating again. During the time when the camera was down, I took a brief moment to Google, is it possible to water cool the Sony Alpha series cameras? And although that would not actually be feasible for my use of them, it is a thought that crossed my mind. If you're curious, I didn't find anything on Google. Anyways, back to this. We picked the Pro version of Windows 10. We don't have a key yet, but we will get one from SCD Key, and I will leave a link to that in the description below if you want to get a key from there as well. The last time that I looked on there, they were about $14, give or take. So maybe about that price for them. Anyways, we're going to accept the license agreement, and we're going to go with custom, and then it says where do you want to install Windows. And this is the point when we realized that we forgot to plug in the SSD to the motherboard after we've done everything else. So lucky for me, that just so happens to be right there. We have plenty of it to go around. So I'm going to go around. Plug it in like so, and I'll worry about managing that later. Once it's in, we will refresh here. And now it shows up. Alright, so don't actually do that, but it works. Anyways, click this, unallocated space, hit next. Again, don't actually do that. And from here, we just let Windows install. It'll copy all the files over to the SSD, install Windows. We will attempt to look for updates and stuff, but I am not actually plugged in to the Ethernet, so we won't actually get that far. Slide back on this. Of course, it is dirty because this table is dirty. But that is perfectly okay, because that's why I keep a little bottle of alcohol around. Never know when you're going to need to clean something off. Like so. This whole thing down while I'm at it. Alright, so this is going to install. I'll go ahead and leave it at that, and we'll get back to you after Windows is installed on this system. Alright, so it finished copying all the files over, the system restarted, and we're at this screen now. It says, let's start with which region this is. We go to the US. It says, is this the right keyboard layout? US, that's the keyboard that we have. Do you have a second keyboard? I do not. Connect to the internet? I don't want to. You want all of this extra fancy stuff? Not really. Nobody does. Username. Alright, I don't remember who's getting this one, so. Let's do IT support for now. That'll be the admin one anyways. I'm not going to worry about setting up a password because nobody's going to get this until I give it to them anyways. Do you want to do more cross devices with activity and history? Not particularly. Want to get help? Not really. Do you want Microsoft to be all up in your business? No, I certainly do not want Microsoft in my business. Except, and then it's going to go through and say it's setting up some things, and it'll take a few minutes to do this. I'm going to do then, so I'm going to get down Ethernet cable. So I'll roll all these up at the same time, so. Needed one. I'll plug it in. There. Wait until Windows actually comes up. When we plug this in, then it will ask us, hey, do you want to set up your Microsoft account now? And then we can tell it for the last and final time that no, we do not want a Microsoft account. Now if you do want a Microsoft account, you don't have to go through this extra step. Just create your account, log into it that way. But these computers are going into an office, and the way that they're going to be used isn't very friendly with Microsoft accounts. So we're going to set them up with individual users so that they can be accessed that way. And so that we can do, yeah, see, let's finish setting up, and then click OK, it won't let you click anything else. And then it says, just a moment. Yeah, we'll set them all up with individual user accounts on them. And once we're connected back to the network in the office, we'll finish the setup through the network there, because they don't need to be. So we'll skip, and then now we're in Windows and we can use it normally. Anyways, they need to be accessible through the network and used with the accounts that we have already set up. So the account that we would set up through Microsoft would not be one that would be something we could use doing that. Alright, so that's all good now. And you have Windows. I like to go in and hide this big search bar. I like to tell Cortana to go away. And then the start menu in general, I don't like any of these things, so I always take them all off of here. And especially on like this, because I won't be actually using this computer all the time, and whenever I do come into here to do something with it, it will be because somebody had some type of issue with something, and so I want, whenever I click here, to be able to find specific things. So I will add those in later, things that actually benefit me, which is none of those other things, because like I said, what do I care what the weather is doing on a computer that I'm never going to touch? What do I care about getting my mail or office programs on this computer when, you know, I'm almost never going to get the benefit of doing that? So none of those shortcuts that are pre-installed in there make any sense for me as the IT support for the company that I work for, so we just leave them as other things. But anyways, that is that. Like I said, if you look in here right now, it'll tell us that we are not activated, and then it will say, you know, you got so much time or whatever to activate. Yeah, Windows reported no product keys in your device, error code this. Windows is not activated. So after a little while, there will be a little pop-up down here that says this copy of Windows is not activated. Please activate it. It will tell you that you can't go in and change your background and stuff after that point. Once you, after the activation or whatever, this stuff all becomes available again. But this isn't even like that big of a deal anyways, because there are other workarounds for doing that. But we will actually activate it once we get it back on the network up there. And if you do check in the description below, I will leave a link for STD key where you can buy a Windows 10 Pro key for whatever they're going for these days. Somewhere usually ranges between $13 and $16 depending on the day, but that will be down in the description for you. If you like what you're seeing here, give us a thumbs up. If you dislike what you're seeing here, give us that thumbs down. Get subscribed if you want to see some more of this, and we will catch you later.